Here's my look at the nominees for Best International Feature Film. As always, the Best International Feature Film category featured some of the best yet more underseen Oscar nominees. Obviously, a non-English film in America could be another country's blockbuster, but it's still a frequent category for offbeat, hidden gem nominees. The category this year also featured what I'd argue was one of the biggest snubs for me overall. I had been predicting Park Chan-wook's Decision to Leave as a possible contender for months, but I guess I was wrong. Anyway, here are the nominees. The current frontrunner is, fittingly, a version of a story from Oscars past, Netflix's large-scale adaptation of All Quiet on the Western Front. The 1930s version is, in my opinion, superior, but given that film's shadow, it's impressive just how much this film succeeds. Considering this film is currently nominated for 8 other Oscars, a rarity among non-English films, I'll keep things light here, but suffice it to say, this is a major contender in this particular category. And stay tuned, because I'll be getting back to this one a lot. Argentina 1985 is a story of speaking truth to power under incredible odds. It's the early 1980s, and Argentina is now a democracy after years of brutal military dictatorship. But the government wants to try the former military leaders to justice for their crimes, who will accept no less than a military trial. When that doesn't happen, a civilian trial is put in action, and a prosecutor and a young, inexperienced lawyer engage in a high-stakes, long-shot effort to bring the former government to justice for the horrific acts they committed. It's an incredibly engaging film that, despite its period setting, still feels relevant today. It can also be a funny film when it wants to be, especially in the beginning, but it can still be a brutal watch due to its subject matter. It feels like an urgent film given the current global political climate, and I strongly recommend it. The Quiet Girl has just only now been released in the US, but if you were one of the lucky ones who caught it at festivals, or as I did during the film's qualification run in December, you may have been rooting for this one to get nominated months ago. It's a stunningly beautiful film from Ireland that really feels like the kind of movie I'd like to see more of nowadays. It features a shy young girl who struggles and is bullied in school and neglected by her dysfunctional and large family, to the point where, when a new baby is on the way, her parents just send her off to relatives she's barely even met. Of course, these relatives, a couple living a simple rural life, turn out to be far better and more loving parents than her real ones, and over the summer she finds some light in her otherwise dark life. That's all I'll really say, because the film goes somewhere you absolutely won't expect. It strikes a great balance of being genuinely sweet without going hard in the mushiness, and the performances are great as well. It's also a film that can go from gentle and funny to devastating in an instant. Overall, it's just a really effective feel-good movie. I'd say that, despite the rave reviews, it had a bit of an uphill battle getting into the nominations, given some more notable competition, but it's a nomination that's very well deserved. It's one of the best films of 2022, and a must-see for your Oscar pool if you can catch it in time, but also a must-see regardless. Palme d'Or winner Triangle of Sadness may be up for major Oscars, but a runner-up at Cannes, a film that I thought was a surefire candidate for the top prize, I predicted an Oscar nomination for since it premiered. Once I saw it in December, I knew it would get one. Close is a Belgian film that's a devastating look at a broken friendship in the face of social expectations, told through the eyes of 2 young boys, Remy and Leo. They're as close-knit as friends can get and always seem to be together, but rumors are spreading that the 2 of them may be more than just close friends, and Leo decides to distance himself from Remy, who doesn't take it well. If you don't already know where this film goes, I won't tell you, but suffice it to say it takes an utterly devastating turn. It starts out seeming like a film commenting on issues of masculinity before becoming something very different. But perhaps the biggest revelation is the performance of the 2 leads, who, as first-time actors, do an absolutely incredible job. Probably among the best performances of the year. It's a rough watch, but it's still one of last year's best films, and is definitely a major international Oscar contender this year. Finally, EO is an unconventional look at how humanity treats animals, told from the perspective of EO, a circus donkey who is loved by his handler but abused by his owner. When EO is sent away from the circus, he ends up on a journey across the country and beyond, learning about the outside world. What really struck me about the film was the cinematography. Shot in often cramped, handheld frames that border on a documentary feel, and experimenting with light and color, it's a surprisingly stylistically bold film for its simple premise. Much of it also helps to establish events from EO's perspective, as does the masterful and often haunting score. It's not a plot-heavy film, yet the events of the story did surprise me. One section in particular started out as the funniest scene in the film, but ended on an extremely devastating note, while another section ended on a shocking moment that truly made my jaw drop. Even so, parts of the film may have been a bit too abstract, and some of the film's human cast weren't as interesting as the animal that bears the movie's name. EO is the real star, or stars since 6 different donkeys were used. It's arguably the weakest film of the 5, but definitely the most interesting stylistically. It's a pretty safe bet that All Quiet on the Western Front will take home the gold, but all of these are worth checking out. Some of these films need to currently be seen in theaters, though a few are on streaming. And for those who aren't a fan of subtitles, All Quiet on the Western Front and Argentina in 1985 have dub tracks as well. Stay tuned for more of my coverage of this year's Oscar nominees. Hey everyone, if you liked this video, remember to like, share, and subscribe. If you didn't like this video, well, maybe you'll like the next one. I have a lot more planned.